Is it bad if I've been wearing the same pair of sweatpants for the past 3 days? Because I have been. And they're really comfortable. But I don't really care. Anyways, I am finally back with another book talk. Finally, after so long of waiting, a book talk. I mean, I've read other books, but it's like I waited too long before I decided I was going to do a book talk over them, and so I completely forgot what my notes were saying. Oh well. But, yeah, let's get started. The book is The Maze Runner by James Dashner. Now, I really like this cover compared to the original cover, but look at this. Look at this right there. You see it? Do you see it? I had kept this book in absolutely perfect condition because I started reading it and then I stopped so I could read Mockingjay, and it was in absolutely perfect condition, and I left it sitting on my nightstand where I leave all of my books sitting that I'm reading, and it was fine until this week while we're on break. I accidentally dropped it off my bed and it ripped. What is this? Do I deserve this? No, I take excellent care of my books. Anyways, like I said, I had started reading this and then I stopped so I could read Mockingjay and read it in time for the movie. And I finally picked it up. Before I decided to pick up this book and I was contemplating reading it since I knew the movie was coming out, I heard very, very mixed reviews about this story, this book, and this series. I mean, there were a lot of people who loved it and they think it was amazing, and then there were the people that hated it and thought it was stupid, and why is this book a New York Times bestseller? I don't know. And I decided, I'm going to go into it with an open mind because that's probably what's best for me. And so I did, and to admit, I thought the beginning was extremely slow. Like, it was so slow, like I was thinking of like putting it down and never picking it back up again. But then I told myself, I'm like, well, if I don't read it, I can't see the movie. So I had to read it. But I put it down and it was just so slow, and I was like, oh my god, stop, just put some action in, please. Like, I need something to grasp my attention. Like, I understand, like, the first half of the book, like, it's all important because you need to understand how the glade works and all this other stuff and blah, 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 but it was so boring. So boring. I mean, besides the little part with, Ben, other than that, like, the first half of the book was so boring. But I feel like I do that a lot with books where it's, like, setting up the background and everything and giving you information you need to know. Because I felt the exact same way with The Hunger Games. Like, the first book, I thought the beginning was extremely slow and I was ready to put it down, but I'm glad I read through it. And I'm really glad I did end up finishing this book too, because the second half of the book was a hell of a lot better than the first. Once Teresa wakes up and the whole glade goes to shit, that's when all the good stuff happens, and that's when it gets interesting, and that's where I started to enjoy the story a lot. Now, there were a few things that really irritated me with this book. One of them is all the freaking slang terms in this story. What are they supposed to mean? Like, are they in place of curse words? And if they are, like, which ones? Because maybe it'd help me, like, make sense of, like, the sentence and what they're trying to say. I don't understand. And, like, the fact that they said good that drove me insane. Like, can't you just say got that? Why good that? Why? Like, it made me want to rip the page out of the book every time I saw it. Why would you use that? Why? So, slang term was really irritating. Like, I don't like it. Like, I mean, do the words even actually, like, have a definition or a meaning to the gladers, or is it just, like, a random word they just decided to use? Like, the only word that they used that I could understand what it was clunk, which is poop. That's about it. Characters in this story. Gally, I absolutely hated him. I think, but you're, like, supposed to hate him, and then you're supposed to feel sorry for him. At the end, when they actually, like, are escaping the maze, I didn't feel sorry for him. I felt like that's exactly what he deserved. Because he was such a butthole. He was a big butthole. And then Thomas, I'm not quite sure how I feel about him. Like, I don't know. I'm just not sure how I feel about him, if I like him or not. He's just kind of there. Freaking love Teresa. She's hilarious. And oh my gosh, I just love her, and she's so funny. I like how she can keep all of these boys in check, and she's just this one girl that none of them have met before, at least besides Thomas, but we're not quite sure how or why and anything like that. And she just keeps them all in check, and it's like hilarious. And they're all scared of her, and she's this one girl. One little girl. And then Newt. Newt is my absolute favorite character. Hands down. He's so funny, and it helps that he, in my mind, I see him as British, and he's just so hilarious, and he always has a comeback for everything. And I just find it so funny when he is forced into the leader role, when Albie is going through, is his name Albie? How do you pronounce that? I said Albie. Probably wrong. When he's going through the changing and Newt is forced to take leadership of the Glade, and he's just like, I really don't understand what I'm doing, so we're just going to wing this and see how it goes. I just love him. He's just like, he's the comic relief of the story, and I really enjoy him, and I think he's adorable. Now, these things they call the Grievers are freaking terrifying. Actually, they're not terrifying. They just sound really, really gross. Like, when I was reading it and they were describing it, I pictured it like, I don't know if any of you guys read this. I read this in 6th grade, I think it was. And it was called The Beasties. I think that's what it's called. I'm not quite sure. But they're like these little like worm things. And they're really weird looking. And they have like arms. And some of them have like one eye. And some of them have like two. And some of them have none. They're like minions, but gross and like worm-like. Does that make sense? Anyway, so I read a book like that. And when they were describing Grievers, that's what I thought they looked like, but with like spikes and like claws coming out of their gushy skin and no eyeballs. Those are creepy. They're just weird. I would never want to come in contact with one of those, and I probably would have never gone head to head with one of them like all the Gladers did, because I would be dead. I would be the first one to die. The Glade. I found it really interesting how this place called the Glade exists basically in the middle of the air. And they have, you know, their homestead and everything set up, and they've got farms, and there's electricity, but there's no electric lines or anything. You just have it, and it doesn't rain, but yet the animals stay watered and the crops stay watered, and then they're surrounded by this giant maze all around them except for one side that goes off a cliff. You have to be extremely smart and creative to even come up with that concept or idea. Like, I would have never been able to come up with something like that. So I think that is like really cool, although it sucks that everything just kind of fell apart, because you know what? I kind of wish I lived in a place like that with some of my friends. Then I could get away from all these stupid people I hate. Although then we have to figure out a way to get out because we get sick and tired of it. And we'll probably try to kill each other. So maybe it's a good idea. Some place like that doesn't exist. One thing I really liked about the story, besides it being dystopian, because I have a huge thing for dystopian stories. I don't know why. I just really like them. Besides that and all the action-packedness of the story, I really enjoyed how there was no love triangle. Like, let's be honest, there always seems to be a love triangle in all YA fiction, no matter what. I mean, it's very rare to find one that doesn't have a love triangle. Like, always seems to be a love triangle. And I definitely thought there was going to be one in the story, considering there's one girl and like 50 guys. Like, come on. But it's nice. It was just Thomas and Teresa, and that's all it ever was. There was never even a hint of some other guy coming in. There's no hint of somebody else hitting on her and trying to get with her. It was almost Thomas and Teresa. It's like everybody knew they're together. Don't mess with them. And I really found that refreshing, and I really liked it. And I really hope it stays this way throughout the rest of the series, because I can't handle love triangles. Like, it's not okay. It doesn't work like that. No. Chuck, I liked him, but then he got on my nerves. Like, you know, first when Thomas gets up, he wants to be his friend, and he's all bubbly and jumpy, and I'm like, shut up, you're annoying me, and I'm not even in the story. And he was really annoying, but it was really sad because, you know, he doesn't have any friends. And so the prospect of there being the next new guy who doesn't know anything, he wants to be the first one to befriend him, And he was so sweet, and he was such a scaredy cat, but he was so annoying. Like, he got annoying very often, and I feel bad. And the fact that he risked his life for Thomas, and Thomas freaking blew up. It was really sweet, and I feel bad that he died, and he didn't get to meet his mom or anything like Thomas promised he'd let him do. And it's all sad and whatnot, but like, let's be honest, we all knew it was going to happen at some point. I mean, Chuck was not a very strong character. He couldn't really do anything. He was just kind of there. And he was going to die at some point. I would rather it be like it was a courageous sacrifice like he did for Thomas, rather than he be killed in a battle, And at least he got to choose the way he died, and he didn't like die unexpectedly or anything like some other people probably will. It was really sad, but we all knew it had to happen, because really, where was the story going to go if Chuck survived? I mean, he really can't do anything. He's just there. One thing I was disappointed with this book is that I predicted the ending, which I tend to do that a lot, and I'm not sure if because I have like really good like clue putting together skills. That's what I'm going to use, because like they get out of the maze and they're in the place with the other people, and obviously it can't be the end because there's 2 more books and they obviously can't be safe. And at first when the rescuers came in, I thought it was their parents, and I was like, no, it's not. And I was like, it has to do something, like they can't be safe. That's just not possible, because then the last 2 books would be completely boring if they were safe. So obviously that has to be part of the maze, and this isn't actually the end of their struggles, and nobody else is going to die. And so right now I'm reading The Scorch Trials, so that will be my next book talk. Alright, so that's about it. I will see you guys next time with a book talk, top 5 Wednesday, or a tag video. Until then, I'm Chrissy. Goodbye! That is about it. Why does my hair look so orange?